Howdy and aloha, everybody. Hope you all had a great holiday. Uh, Happy post Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, or actually Pagan's Day. You know, let me try to turn this down a little bit. I know it's already muffling the. Yeah, that's better. I close my eyes. Okay, so a lot has gone on. I haven't been on. I've been really busy. I think if you see my YouTubes, I been busy doing Santa Claus things. You know, uh, hey Fly, hey Red, hey redstreamo.io. Oh, that's I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But anyway, yeah, I like the holidays. And the reason why, because it's a fucking holiday, man. I mean, shit. I mean, don't you think we need more holidays? I mean, I work 40 hours a week, and sometimes I'll go out and do work for mom. I'll help somebody here or do something there or to make extra money. It's never just 40 hours. It's always a little bit more at times and a little bit less. It just depends. But I have been sick, man. Last week it was really bad. Um, I have to get. I have to get a lesson. I see you. You're multitasking too fly. Okay. Anyway, yeah. It's for me. It's just the gesture. It's just the effort. That I put into either going to the store or making something or building something or helping somebody. I remember there was a time when I really didn't have a lot of money, which I'm not saying I'm rich now. I far from it. But yeah, sorry, girls. I'm just not a bill gazillionaire yet, and I've been working on that. I've been working on that. But where I would just do work and to help mom or sister or brother, come out and landscape an entire backyard or something just to do something for them. Maybe they need uh, shelves in the garage, and because of my foreman slash construction with electrical, plumbing, and drywall and other things, building, joisting, and all that stuff, and framing, and woodwork, building furniture with my grandfather and stuff like that. And I know how to do a few things around the house. I am a handy man, definitely a handy man. Uh, Grabby sometimes. But anyway, yeah, so whatever you can do sometimes, if you're just helping with wrapping, or me for my sister, I'm usually the mashed potato guy that comes in because I can get down and do the mashed potatoes in the big pot for everybody. And I put a little too much butter than she usually says, but she probably doesn't know that. But she does now. But yeah, it's not about the gifts, and it's chaos out there. I was at fucking Walmart last week. I was just picking up this little thing for work, and I just walked in, found what I wanted, like right on the side, turned around and went to this line that was forever. And I'm like, the line's long, and I'm just, whoa, 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 trying to dodge these crazy 85% of them were women, and they're doing mock speed, the speed of sound, through Walmart. And I mean, I saw collisions of shopping carts and just the rudeness and the craziness, the capitalistic way that just absorbs all of us. So yeah, it's fierce out there. I get it. It's bad, but when you take the time to and spend a little time with your kid and build something or make something or do something, it doesn't have to be a gift. It can be, hey, let's go fishing. You know, uh, let's go do something. Let's go do something different. I mean, one year I took my daughter up skiing, uh, which she was just freaking out because she had no idea I knew how to ski. So the same reaction happened when I took her out to go ice skating. I went around 12 times. She thought I didn't know how to ice skate either, but believe it or not, I played hockey when I was a kid. The first part of hockey when I was a kid, I just remember looking up at the sky because I was like the only Polynesian kid in Canada that was, I think, playing hockey with me and my brother. And it was kind of a little league that we played in. But once I got it and I knew how to check the corners, ooh, it was on, buddy. This Polynesian was crazy. We were just a crazy pineapples, they called us, I think. We're just crushed it. But no, it's not about the present. So anyway, it's over. You guys don't have to worry about it anymore. It's gone. Don't. But just do things. And I told my son the other day. I said, "What if the holidays were um, once a month? What if it was once every month where people actually let people in the intersection, from the driveway and actually gave a little bit more, did more. And he goes, that would be cool, but it would be crazy at Walmart. And I go, good point. We can't have that. So the way I am is you do what you can do when you can do it, and you can only do what you can do. So, you do as much as you can and give it your best. And if, your best isn't good enough, then fuck you. Or, I'm sorry. I wish I could have done better or whatever, but, I give it my best. And if my best isn't good enough, then you're just high maintenance. That's it. Anyway, we're watching a lot of. Anyway, holidays are over. Goodbye. Thank you. Well, I got New Year's coming up. I can't wait till that happens. Hey, Evan. And New Year's, God, that was so fast. The year went by so fast, and so much stupid shit happened. And they're still pushing Russia. Oh my God, it's so nuts. They had Jill Stein was on MSNBC, and they kept asking, "Do you regret? If you knew now what you knew before, or then, or now, or something, do you regret, having anything to do with what you did over in Russia?" And she kind of, I don't know if you watched it, but she should have said, "You know what? It's not. It's just a narrative." That's what she should have said. It's just talking points. Nothing has been proven, but she didn't, and that she kind of held back a little bit. I think maybe she wasn't prepared for the question. But, she made her point that it was just baloney and she was over there. They never had a conversation and all this other stuff, and it was just a big RT event, and everybody knows that. But the DNC is so desperate to point the other finger instead of at themselves. You got people like that. They're just, it's all your fault. It's all your fault. It's all everybody else's fault. But it's not my fault. I'm the one. Hey, Christian. Hey, brother. And that's the sad thing about the DNC and Hillary and Clinton and Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Donna Brazile. And I kind of trolled in on Tim today, by the way. And I said, just to let you know, Tim, Donna Brazile gives her love. And she's going to go ahead and submit that application to MSNBC for you. Oh, my God, dude. Like I said, you fucking had your moment, man. Let her walk out. Anyway. But MSNBC had Jill on, and she defended herself pretty well. But when it came to that one question, do you regret having known now if you were in this, if this were to happen today, would you not do or go out and see? It really had nothing to do with Putin and everything. It was she was trying to explain the Green New Deal. She was trying to push less war and less disarmament. She was doing her thing. She had nothing to do with that guy. And it's, again, really sad that the DNC is still moving with this stuff. And and then that comes to it brings me to the great one, Jamarl Thomas at this Progressive Soapbox. I call him the great one because this guy knows what he's talking about. But he had Harong, some guy that just wrote a book, and I do believe that I wanted to show you guys this this piece of the Real News YouTube channel that comes up, and they got some great guys on there. And they had this idiot on, Mark Harong or something like that, who just wrote this book, just blowing up the Russia crap again, just blowing up the Russia crap. And he asked this question, and I think I've got it at the right point. I think I have it at the right place, but it's just fucking hilarious. Oh, no, stop recording. No, start recording. No, start recording. Oh shit, I clicked the wrong thing. All right, so hopefully it's still working. Let's see if we can get to where I need to be, and put it on. Transform. Yeah, the Real News Network had this idiot on, and I was just watching it.
Just talk to people, ask them about Kremlin hacking, ask them about. I don't think
Now listen to this answer.
On this.
The Russians I've spoken to.
Now listen, this is fucking great, right? And look at his. You got to look at this guy's his his demeanor and the way he's carrying himself. The guy who's giving the interview. I don't know his name off the top of my head, but he's fucking epic. He's just like this. You got to just hear this. This is fun. Sorry, I'm butting it. Un momento, por favor.
And again, I obviously can't speak to everybody. The ones I've spoken to think all this is ridiculous. And again, no one's
right. Everyone I've spoken to. I mean, when do you start to realize that it is ridiculous? It's shameful. It's disappointing. This is gonna Haynes with tips. This is gonna hey Jake, my Jake, what's up, brother? This is going to, it's. I don't care what it does to the DNC at this point, because it's obviously going to blow up in their face. It's just a nothing burger after nothing. There's not even a bun. It's like you're going and ordering at the drive-thru. Can I have something that's totally transparent and fully invisible? And I'd like to order it, please. That's not tangible and has no substance or fiber in it at all. Like air. I'd like to order some air. When you pull up to the drive-thru window to get your order and you get some nice big fries and you get a fucking Coke and stuff, and then they hand you this nothing burger. Just nothing. There's fucking not even. And it's sad because the rest of the planet just laughs. They're fucking laughing at us. And the DNC and MSNBC and CNN and a lot of times Fox and mainstream media they're just totally turning this nation in the biggest joke. It's becoming an embarrassment. These people just need to be turned off. They just seriously need to be completely turned off. And I'm pissed. I mean, you should be mad too. Everybody should be pissed off because this is insanity. This is just complete and total insanity. And like this guy said, like everybody's saying, it's fucking ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. My sometimes going through phrases. Okay. M99, what's up, brother? Or girl? I don't know if that's a girl or guy. Anyway, so how do I say this without being too aggressive? You're fucking morons. You're fucking morons. You're morons. You're just fucking morons out there. And you're really starting to make this nation look like a fucking, it's not even a circus. It's not even Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey circus that's no longer in existence anymore recently. It's like some fly-by-night little stupid little clown show, and it's embarrassing and it's pathetic and it's just harmful. It's to the point to where you're actually harming our nation, our credibility, our integrity. And the mainstream media is doing it. They're just like the largest weapon against ourselves at this point. They've done so much harm than they have any good. And we have, H.A. Goodman out there. We have Debbie from Sane Politics. We have Nico House. Sometimes Tim Black. Holly Seeliger out there from Zoom Politicon. Of course, Jamal Thomas out there doing some great work. Hard Bastard doing some good stuff. Mike Figueroa, I didn't say his name right, probably, from the Humanist Report, And then the Real News is doing a great job. And of course, we do have Stevie with Red Economics, one of our own, and also Independent Outsider David. Just some good information out there that these people are getting from that have a better perspective, you know. And it comes down to my mono word is your senses, you know. Uh, do they have the sense? Do they have the senses to absorb the information that's out there? You know, what are you seeing? I mean, like my grandfather always said, there's three sides to every story. There's that person's side and that person's side, and then there's your perception or what you sense is the truth, you know, because you possibly were not there when the altercation happened. Maybe you weren't there when the accident happened. Maybe you weren't there when whatever happened. So you're using your senses, your ears, your eyes, your feeling, your touch, your taste, whatever you need to do to decipher what you believe is the facts. But these guys, Fox, CNN, MSNBC, even Al Jazeera has been up to BBC, of course, is in collusion with MSNBC and CNN. They're just like, they play together. They're just fucking mafia people that just fucking play together. And they don't have the sense enough to know that they're embarrassing us. They're making us look like fools. They're making the entire nation of the United States, which I love and I appreciate, and I'm patriotic as hell because I was in the Nav, you know, on the Carl Vinson, the same boat that supposedly got rid of Osama bin Laden. I wasn't there at the time, though. I wasn't part of SEAL Team 6. I'm just saying, it's time. There has to be, there's no law. You know, the FCC, Ajit Pai, they don't fucking work for us anymore. You know, they don't give a shit about you. You know, a lot of the services, the CDC, the FDA, they're all people that that were legislators or judiciaries, and sometimes some of them were executives. But you know, these people used to work for companies that we are fighting against, like Monsanto and Big Pharma and Pfizer. You know, it's getting bad. It's it's getting ridiculous. Hey, Cheryl, 1329 aloha. So it's just ridiculous. And I mean, and this guy in News Network, it's like his senses with the guy seems like he's fucking there, you know. He really and truly seems, it's just the expression on his face is like, you're fucking kidding me, right? This is so ridiculous. It's past ridiculous now. It's past embarrassing. It's past pathetic. It's harmful. It's harmful when you start pushing a country like Russia. By the way, they have more nuclear weapons than we do by 400. You know, we got 7,600 or seven, whatever. We got 6,800 or whatever, close to 7,000, and they have 7,000 nuclear fucking warheads. We're like the two most powerful fucking nuclear powers on the fucking planet, and we're fucking with Russia. How ridiculously stupid is that? Oh my God, it just makes no sense. You know, let's push the button of the guy that's got the biggest fucking guns. You know, let's annoy that guy. You know, they got to stop this. You know, I don't think Russia's going to put up with this any longer. I think if they don't do something soon, um, you know, I do believe a lot of the other countries will turn the other cheek. It's at that point where we've made such a mockery of each other. You know, not the voting republic. I'm talking about the Democrats and the Republicans, the legislators, the judiciaries, and the executives that are supposed leaders on these two fucking stupid parties that keep pushing these narratives and this bullshit it's getting us in trouble. It's putting us further away from being known as a viable, integral, honorable nation. The UN just said fuck you to Nikki Haley and Donald Trump 132 nations just said, you know what, you guys are stupid. We do not condone or think Israel is or Jerusalem is the is Israel's fucking capital or whatever. And then you have the UN again. I mean, those are supposed to be the guys that fucking are watching our backs, right? Even though they kind of watch our backs and cover our backs and the white helmets, the guys that portray like there's a chemical bomb or something that just goes off. But still, the point is it's getting dangerous, and it's getting to the point to where we have got, hey, ditzy little girl, am I saying that right? Ditzy little G. Ditzy little G. Anyway, so, I mean, am I wrong? Am I not seeing the same thing that you guys are seeing? Because I think we're all seeing the same thing. It's just, it's embarrassing. It's getting dangerous. The UN is like, I don't know if I want anything to do with this fucking country anymore. It's like that. It's like all the houses in the cul-de-sac, and this one house has got a bunch of fucking crack smokers and fucking opioid takers and a bunch of drunks and idiots and just or not, no, or maybe they're not even that. Maybe they are that, and they work on the hill, which is probably the case. Because I could see the crack houses definitely less threatening than a house with a bunch of actual legislators in it. And these people are always, it just seems like they're all fucking on drugs anyway. God. Yeah, but it's the house in the cul-de-sac that everybody's just like, oh my God, they're totally lowering the value of our property. They're bringing the value of the cul-de-sac down because they're just such idiots and they're just weird. But so people are just going to get rid of them. And I do believe the UN and other countries are going to turn the other cheek if something happens. We're setting ourselves up for something really bad. And I don't think this is going to be homegrown. Not like 9/11, not like some other things that people have brought up. I think there's probably word that's happening right now. It's just my gut feeling because of my senses. My sensors are telling me. My spider sense is tingling, and I fucking hate my spider sense because it's right sometimes. Is I do believe there are a lot of nations out there that are talking amongst themselves, and they're saying these words. The United States has gone completely insane. It's either we need to do something about them before they either destroy and hurt others, or we do something about them to remove them from what in their place as a financial and military power. And I think they're looking at ways of doing that. I truly believe that's happening right now. I think there are definitely other countries that are talking, with us not included. Definitely Saudi Arabia not included. Definitely Israel not included. A bunch of countries out there that are just like they are getting really bad, and it's time. Yeah, I don't know. I just see something like that happening. I mean, what would you do if you were those other countries and this fucking country just kept lying and throwing up propaganda, like just spewing out fucking feces out of their mouths just constantly, trying to lay blame for an election that was clearly at fault of the DNC and Hillary Clinton and all her mafia clan, and that's basically what happened. But for some reason, they just want to keep going in that direction. Anyway, well, my senses are telling me that we either need to get off of this fucking Russia thing, or we need to get rid of the DNC as soon as possible before they fucking pull us all down. Trump obviously is just a fucking idiot and a weirdo, and a strange piece of shit. But their own party will once people start to feel the wrath of the new tax plan, and that all this money that these big corporations are telling that they're going to don't trickle down to, we'll see what happens to that party. They're both imploding. They're both this, we need a new party, people. Me, I'm green, and I sleep so good at night when things are great, when things are good, and I sleep well, knowing that I'm standing with a party that's actually trying to do something to help the common good, the voting republic, not a super PAC, not an APAC, not a lobbying body, not a corporations, not the 1%. I'm actually standing with the right and correct and the proper party that I think has got the best chance of hopefully getting some people in the Senate, hopefully getting some people into the House of Representatives. You know, not going to say much about. I just like Jesse Ventura. I think Jesse Ventura and Jill Stein would be a great job. Would be a great thing. Anyway, here on Monotalk, we talk about all kinds of stuff. We got a lot of people that come on here. They're already inside of the chat right now. They're just probably revving up, getting ready to come in. And then when they come, they're like, but there are some good people that come on here. There's no doubt there's some great people that come on here. And I'm very fortunate they even know me, honestly. I can't fucking, I don't know, man. These guys are my friends. And I'm just fortunate as hell that I know them, honestly, really. So, um, my goal is to, my core, and I think this is a lot of us, my core is to, save the planet, and all of its inhabitants, broad stroke, but, we got to try and we got to do something somewhere. We are at the precipice, people. And if we don't start doing something right fucking now, yeah, I love Jesse Ventura too. His son's awesome. You ever heard his son is, he talks like, he's got this super deep voice and he talks like this. And, just super, super, super deep, like a Barry White. You'll never find. Anyway, sorry, I still got a little cold. I'm sure you can hear. All right, let's get out this link to get on in. So here, what's cool about this place, and it's really cool about a lot of places. Independent does the same thing. Stevie does the same thing. Is it's not just about us ranting and saying all kinds of stuff to you guys and our perspective and reading a question or something every once in a while. Come on in, join the party. I mean, join this discussion, join the open forum. Whatever you got to talk about it, no drama, no trolling. We'll boot you and keep you off of the station forever or the channel forever. But just come in whatever party you want. I mean, just let's hear what you have. If you got something that's gonna kind of stay with our core values, which is planet and inhabitants, then I think we got something to talk about. But if you're all about a race, or if you're all about hate, and if you're all about you know Ayn Rand or something like that, then it's probably not going to work out for you here. Probably not going to work out for you. And who are the Justice Democrats? Like, they have a lot of poll out there. Fire St. Huger because I said so. I'm a Justice Democrat. What the fuck are you? I mean, Sank said a bunch of shit, and everybody says it. And by the way, he's not gone yet. Sank, Jank, he's still hanging around, people. He hasn't gone anywhere. So just letting you know. I mean, not that I know Gardner hates this guy with a passion, but what I'm saying is they haven't decided what to do. I believe with Jank Huger, with Junk Huger. I think they're still trying to look at me. My live stream sucks right now. I got too much shit up. Hold on, let me see. Get off of here. Boop boop. Get off of here. That might help. I'm gonna get off Twitter after I post the host link. The meeting link for Zoom to come in, and then oh yeah, damn, that's cute. That's really cute. Anyway, yeah. So when I'm with you, I'm looking through. That bell is too high. Garden, It has been a while, my friend. How are you? And by the way, I'm done with my monologue. I like your red. You got the red stuff. Minicam.com.
What's up, dude?
Hey, So you know what? When I heard about Jank. The first person I thought about, right?
By the sword, you die by the
Yeah,
sword.
right.
What I gotta say about it.
Yeah, I go. Somebody's got a fucking hard on right now.
Yeah.
Somebody's got fucking tits as hard as
I was
fucking
just
diamonds.
imagine Jank descending into some kind of meat grinder.
Oh yeah, he's been playing this for so long. Oh my god! Oh, what are you doing, Evan?
There he
Oh,
is.
Evan, stop!
Our resident Hillary supporter.
I know, right?
Fucking scumbag. Kick him off.
Oh, it must be cold, dude. He's wearing Are you wearing a parka?
No, just one of these
A
thingies.
fire suit or something?
It's just yellow.
Is it cold out there in Mass?
I'm in Omaha.
Oh, sorry, you're in Omaha. You're not in Omaha. Why are you in Omaha?
Yeah, because I'm visiting family
Oh,
who has this on their fridge.
oh.
You're gonna get kicked out.
Stevie. Dude, you can't be out there. That's a dangerous area. Nebraska. The Cornhuskers.
Anyways, like as far as Jank goes, like, he pushed that shit for years, man, and he howled for blood for people who did less than he did, like, just as long ago.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things like that some people are upset about. I'm not so upset about. The people seem to be ignoring what I think are some of the main points, which is that, number one, it wasn't just Dave that went up to those girls. It was Jank and like those teenage girls. And then they went up to some other teenage girls and flirted with them in front of their parents, separate from these. And then there was the Redskins comment,
Yeah.
that was unacceptable. But anyways, and if the overall point is you lie by the sword, you die by the sword. You're going to push this shit. When it comes back around, don't be surprised.
Exactly. That's what happened. When people, you know what? I'm really concerned about me and my future because there's probably a ton of shit I've done. There's probably like a list like from here to fucking Mexico. That's my concern.
Yeah, say women are genetically inferior isn't too cool either.
No. I told
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like I told you guys, if I ever did anything to a woman, my mom would cut off my nuts. She's actually told me that. Or she'll break my nose.
What's up with Snork?
Snork, what the fuck? Is your heater not working, bro?
His mic isn't working.
I'm out by oven right now.
Is it cold?
He's pulling a Corey Feldman.
I'm 100 miles north and about 300 miles east.
Wow.
Which is pretty close considering everybody else seems to be out the coast.
Yeah. It's what's the temperature out here? 54 something. And we're in our parkas and we're all cold. We're cold in our parkas. We're wearing fucking snowsuits out here in 54-degree weather. It's pretty bad. We're such testicles, man. We are testicles, dude.
It's freezing here, man.
How cold is it out there in Michigan?
Well, it got down below 10 the other night. I'm not sure what the temperature is right now, but
you know a polar vortex coming.
In Michigan?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
We're -5 right now. It'll pick up and blow out to you. This is a very mild polar vortex.
Yeah, today wasn't so bad, but it's been cold, and then you have the lake effect, which is you live next to these giant ice cubes, and they just blow cold air onto the land and snow.
I just hated fueling today because of the wind. We had a wind chill, and you're supposed to not be outside for more than. That's about what you need. If you're coming from Texas, that's definitely what you need. I can't imagine traveling with the little ones right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
It sucks.
you basically have to roll up in a little ball of blankets and carry them around.
Hey, the movie The Christmas Story, when that little kid walks out and he's got that coat on and he's walking like this. That's the favorite part when he comes out. He's wearing one of those hats. That's awesome.
Hello there.
Hey,
And
Alias,
Alias
what's
is
up?
with his shirt off.
Alias, you're pulling a James.
Yeah.
Muscle, it's just so huge and masculine. Say
No,
it, Christian. Do it.
I'm fucking scrawny.
Look at those muscles. It's so beautiful. It's so nice and round and full. It's so beautiful. It's amazing.
That's as much as me as you're going to see for tonight.
How did finals go? Do you think you did well?
I managed to get out with the 4.0 somehow.
Nice.
Woohoo.
Nice.
Very
You get one
nice.
of these.
Good
Alias, you
Did
get
you-
one of these.
Did you get a sticker? Did you get a Hillary
He's
sticker?
gonna mail it
for
to
taking
you,
the 4.0?
first class.
Between that and seeing episode 8, that's my fucking nightmare.
Oh,
He might not get a
man,
sticker,
I
but
know.
might not get a sticker. But if he keeps it up, he'll be getting 200 grand plus a year. So keep it up.
Mhm.
Nice job.
No, I'm not even gonna be getting that. You know what I'm getting? I'm getting fucking taxed on my school supplies.
Ugh, Jesus.
STEM, like the need for STEM is ever increasing. So your skills will only go up in value, is my prediction.
Yeah,
hey,
yeah. Well,
hey.
my tax reductions are going straight down the shitter.
hey, Alias, if you don't like Star Wars Episode 8, you're a sexist and a racist.
Yeah.
Well, you
keep
know
in
what?
mind.
For this one time, I will take it. This one time.
Yeah. You'll
I
be
will
joining Sync. You'll be joining Jank with that. You and Jank can hang out in the unemployment line.
Well, no, Jake is going off the short gear right now. After he was found out to be a little better than Trump, and apparently Kyle Kalinske, for some reason, wasn't very happy about that, so he left too.
Well, at least we won't have to hear him plugging that anymore, man. Every time I heard him plug that on like his channel, somebody else's channel, I just cringed automatically, man. It's like,
Yeah.
Well, Kyle straight up admitted it. Like, it was a lack of leadership.
Hmm?
Like, if you're going to start an organization, you make sure that you don't have a bunch of ideological fanatics under you while you go off and do other things. Because when you come back, they might have their own ideas about how things should be run.
The cat's away and the mice will play.
Yep.
Scenario happened, yeah.
They just kind of let it go. It seems like, it was obvious Kyle was not leading the organization. And then Jank was doing all kinds of other different things. And they just kind of left it in the hands of the people that were in the office. And they chose bad hires.
Like the very beginning, that a media organization, even attempting to start up a political action group was kind of always a sketchy thing to begin with.
Of course, I agree with you 100%.
Like that was this started as poor out, and it's now devolved into being completely poorly thought out. Like, there wasn't exactly a lot of progression. This was a half-baked idea that they thought that they could just ride on because, we're Jay Duger and Kyle Kalinske. We're popular. We can totally start a political. We talk about politics for a living. We totally have about day-to-day politics. So we totally have an understanding of political economy. We can change by creating a political action group.
Well, I think Kyle. Oh, go ahead.
Like, I don't think it would be so bad if there wasn't just so much money exchanged. It's like once you have the politics, news, and the money.
Well, I think Kyle.
That's like
go ahead.
the corruption trifecta. I don't think it would be so bad if there wasn't just so much money exchanged. So, and I wrestled a lot when I first started doing this because I'm like, I need some kind of income. So should I set up a Patreon? And then I'm like, well, I really don't want to take money because then I don't, it leads to trouble. But, I don't know. I'm not getting $20 million. So I think I'm good. But, once the money starts exchanging hands, it goes downhill from there.
Yeah, and I think that's, I think Kyle believed in the core purpose of Justice Democrats. I think Jenk saw it as a vehicle. Jenk's logic is that the bigger TYT gets, the more chance there is that, in his own mind, he justifies it like whatever I can do to make TYT bigger will further progressive causes. And I'll also make a nice dime off of it. I mean, that's when things start to get confused. Like maybe you start off with good intentions and then all this money starts rolling in. And so that was always the purpose of Justice Democrats in a sense. It was always split in its purpose. And, I'd imagine that they like Jenk used some of that money improperly. And I'd imagine Dave
Jordan
did. And I'd imagine we're going to see lawsuits.
Wouldn't it be fucking ironic if it turned out that if Cenk Uygur was embezzling funds from Justice Democrats for his own adventures?
There's plenty of legal ways to do it where you can shave money off the top.
Embezzling escalator from like top to bottom.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Cenk did anything illegal. Like it'd be as obvious as it's just into the Justice Democrats fund and going to Las Vegas with it. But there's legal ways, of course, where you can cover your own expenses through shell games and whatever. And I'm sure plenty of that went on.
Well, 2 years ago, I torpedoed a company, had a multi-million-dollar offer for it, and the president of the company tried to move some funds to another purpose, and she tried to take our alternative energy to purchase some software that could only be used for modeling the flow of cash relative to the performance of petroleum, like producing petroleum, which our system had no need. I killed the company because I felt that would be
wrong,
defrauding.
Yeah.
Good, and that's
I think that's the same case here.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of why I
should have happened.
Doing something that was really basically something you could have talked about in front of your donors. Like you're saying, you can't say I'm going to do this to get Democratic people organized and then use it to fund orgies.
Yeah.
Well, Jake thought Jordan thought he could, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I could have used that money. Everybody could use a couple $1 million per year. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll start my own orgy. In fact, it'll have blackjack.
Yeah, Elios, you're just about ready the way you're dressed, brother.
My orgy would have.
How do we know he hasn't already started?
Evan's gonna have
you can't have an orgy without this.
It's going to be consistent of feces and vomiting. And toothpicks in your fingernails.
By my fucking bartender, and now I'm getting roasted by you guys. That's not my day.
Yeah,
but that's always been like the reason why I stood against them. This money is better purposed. It's being misspent. And,
a 4.0 though isn't bad. As nervous as you were, perhaps you could go back to your instructors and bribe them, see if you get a higher grade.
Uh-oh. How do you think he got the 4.0, Snort?
Yeah, you think he was
land grant institution? Where the fuck am I gonna get a 5 from?
Jesus.
It's okay, man. Do whatever
Sorry.
you need to do to get ahead. We
Shirtless
don't
or
judge
whatever
you.
you needed to bribe the teacher. Whatever you need to do.
It's not like I'm going to read. There's no high valued alumni that I can bribe with cocksucking that will get me a better grade.
Terrible.
Yeah.
This young gentleman achieved something, and you degenerate start in on him.
I know, right?
It's a horrible chat. Good day, gentlemen.
Good
I'm
day
leaving.
to you, sir. Not a good day.
Maybe it'll help you get that teaching job you wanted, though.
Yeah, I mean, I am going to be starting my student internship when I get back from Canada pretty soon.
Are you going to be teaching in high school, or are you going to be a TA for teaching in college?
No, I'm sticking with high school. I knew what I was getting into from the very start, and to be honest, as much as I like being in college, I've enjoyed being in college. I think I need a break from college.
Yeah, and it'll give you some strength. You know, if you're gonna start doing your first day of exercises, do it hard. So your first year in school, teaching high school is probably a lot harder than teaching college.
Probably. I'll say this. I'm not looking forward to dealing with the dickhead administration officials who think, no, the schools has to be taught this way. And then trying to explain to parents why, oh no, there's actually a better way we could be doing this.
You know, just show them the product of me, and let them, and then use me as an example. Your system hasn't been working for quite some time. Hence, example, James Montauk.
Here's the thing. Like I think most parents aren't stupid to the fact that the education system isn't really working. But the problem is that most people don't understand why the education system doesn't work. And it's not just because they're lacking of faculty. It's because the system, because the entirety of our societal structure is based around propping up a hierarchy. So when you try to explain, your children are essentially being thrown into a meat grinder that I'm basically being forced to selectively categorize who's the most fit to lead society. Yeah, no wonder your child isn't doing so well, because your child is kind of being weeded out.
Yeah, I mean, our educational system is only part of the problem. The other half is probably our family structure, just the fact that we don't have parents that are able to spend the time with their kids and make, learning a fun, thing. I know that was a huge advantage for me over any of my classmates when I was a kid, because my grandma made it this fun thing. And so I was, a couple years ahead. I'd go to 2 grades ahead of me and tutor them in math because she made it fun. I would always learn it way earlier. Now, when family structure, changes and, people aren't, can't spend the time like that with their kids, well, they don't get that one-on-one. They don't get to, any tutoring. I mean, what's the term for it? Latchkey kids. Parents are at work. They come home. They watch TV. And it's just we don't spend the time like we should with our kids anymore.
Well,
Takes a village, people.
Okay, so
Hey.
It takes a village, but I mean, fundamentally, our education system is structured in a way that is, designed in order to fuck people over, and lead them to be essentially tools for other people. I often make the joke about reforming the American education system. That basically every reform method that we've tried is to try and get children to critically think in an education system which is designed to specifically to hamper critical thinking skills. It's kind of, we've been trying to teach at cross purposes with the design of our schooling system is supposed to be. So I mean, it's why you have something of a social basket case and why schools are kind of basically just factories for churning out workers and scholars, and not actually designed to actually get kids to learn.
Just enough.
If learning happens, it's kind of incidental.
Exactly.
It's not the actual point.
Just enough to work the factory line, which sadly is going to be taken over by fucking Amazon and eBay robots pretty soon. So, that's not going to work out very much. That's not going to work out very well for them either.
Well, of course.
I think the best way to get students interested in listening to your every word for the rest of the semester is if your school system allows it.
Yeah.
To make a little magnetic gun, little rail gun, and shoot a ball across the floor. That's the first one. The second one is, did your physics instructors on your first day in college, did they do the bowling ball pendulum trick?
The pendulum ball trick? Surprisingly not.
If you can somehow arrange that locks them in. You take a bowling ball, you suspend it from a cord, and you pull it back to your nose, and you let it go. And you try not to blink as it comes back to you. And the kids will just be in awe. Plus, they think that you're brave enough to stand in front of a bowling ball coming at your nose. They won't try anything.
Well, part of the problem, of course, is that
really
the system's been monetized.
Or demonetized. There's not enough money either for a lot of these. I mean, look at Betsy DeVos.
Well, it's been defunded. It's been defunded.
Is the word. Yeah.
but it's been monetized, and it's about producing results to get cash, test results.
And that was a huge problem I had with these. What was it that Betsy DeVos was pushing for? Something about funding for schooling. I forget the word for it, but basically where you get a little coupon and you can choose whatever school that your child goes to.
Like our public let me be honest. Like, I don't like the idea. As I've gotten older, I don't particularly like the idea of leaving the state in charge of education. But the only reason I fucking tolerate it is because the alternative is leaving it directly in the hands of the economic elites, and that's already just a smorgasbord of fucking problems.
Yeah, but that was my huge problem with the vouchers is now you're basically privatizing schools and making it to where you're in competition, and it's been proven that when they do that, it's all about getting the students. It's not about the grades. It's not about teaching kids anything, educating young minds. It's all about how can we get the students here so we can get the funding. So, that's what it all comes down to. And so what's going to come from that is we're going to have a shittier education. You think it's bad now. If we started that program, oh my God, it would get so much worse because the competition is, at least a disaster.
No. But this falls perfectly in line with the natural tendencies of capitalism to stratify society into a sort of pseudo hierarchy. The whole point of their ideal education system is that the education system should create a social hierarchy. It's not designed to liberate students. It's supposed to put class and caste systems. Supposedly, this is supposed to run on a meritocracy, but really, and if we're going to be fucking honest, it's only a meritocracy for those who are already at the bottom of the rung. So, it's
Wait, I don't think I understood that. You said it's a meritocracy for the people that are on the bottom?
Yeah, it's a meritocracy for the people at the bottom. It's a fucking a la carte for the people at the top.
Okay.
That's especially when you have a voucher system. This only becomes hyper prominent. And now, what Betsy DeVos is trying to implement falls through, then Well, I think you can already figure out what the immediate consequences of that are going to be. Basically, what ends up happening is that the poor students get fucked over because they aren't able to. Many of them don't have the academic resources necessary in order to be able to get themselves into these elite schools, and the few that do are going to be strapped into it for the rest of their lives. To basically a it's basically a do or die situation that's going to be on the back of them for the rest of their education. That's supposing, that they actually manage to survive through without mentally crashing. The people at the top, well, they can choose whatever path they fucking want. So the fucking sky's the limits for them because their educational opportunities have already been paid for. They don't need to go.
Just look at Joe Manchin's daughter, Heather Bresch, the one that was jacking up the prices on the EpiPen. She didn't even graduate. She was going around saying that she had a master's degree. She never even completed the courses. The school just gave it to her. West Virginia University, by the way. And it's just funny that, they give all the hate to Joe Manchin when he was governor, and then all of a sudden his daughter just ends up with a master's degree that she never earned, so, they just buy their way to the top. Just buy it.
Yeah, that's fucking capital.
I tell you what, nobody gave me a free degree when I went up there. They told me, hey, where's the money? And I said, well, I don't got any money. They said, well, see you later, and sent me on home.
Hey, did Rahm Emanuel allow the voucher program to move to invade Chicago?
Probably. It's wrong.
Isn't that somebody knows the answer to this? I mean, he opened the door and allowed it to just explode. So what happens is, of course, the elite, the people that can afford to put their kids into I don't know, anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 and up, schools, get the better education, the smaller classes, the better the teachers, et cetera, the list goes on. And then that just creates further separation from these people and other people. So until we fix our public school system and fund them and make sure that they have the right teachers and they're doing the right processes and they're learning how to balance a checkbook and fix their credit scores and learn the freaking the Constitution forwards and backwards and upside down and things that they really need to learn in regards to sex education, like what's really going on out there, regards to harassment, over and blah, 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 blah. I mean, just a wide range of things.
But here's the thing.
Go ahead.
Even if we manage to do all that things, it still doesn't do anything to solve the fundamental problems with our education system. I totally agree that those things need to happen. The problem is, though, James, is that getting those problems solved isn't the only problem. The problem is that we have is that at the fundamental level, our school systems are designed specifically to work against people. They aren't designed to help people learn. They are there to help select who is going to be the next leaders of society and who gets to be stuck at the fucking bottom of the totem pole. That is the whole point of our schooling system. And unless you make efforts to actually change that, even if we somehow radically altered our school with a system like Common Core, the fundamental principles of the Austrian schools still remain the same. You either get through and become the new owner class of society, or you don't, and you get to be at the fucking or you get to be the join the proles fighting for scraps. Those are the actual stakes of our academic system. And it's especially insidious because now the elites have realized that they've let too many people in with the promise of becoming the ownership class of society. And because of that, most of that ownership, those new supposed owners are now completely in debt because they were promised something that the system was simply not designed to uphold. And what's going to end up happening? Well, I can guarantee you it's probably going to result in an economic crash because here's the thing. Every person in this society, by theory, should be entitled to an education to a quality education that can carry them to anything that they want to go in life. The problem is that our system is specifically designed for a system that doesn't allow for that. And because of that, it's not just our social systems that are going to collapse. It's not just our economic systems that are about to collapse. It's also our societal structure that's about to collapse, because you have a bunch of educated people, and maybe they weren't educated in the most ideal method, but they still are intelligent enough to be able to put 2 and 2 together to realize that they're being fucked over. They know just enough to realize they're being fucked over. They may not necessarily know why they're being fucked over or how they're being fucked over, but they do know they're being fucked. And unless we do something to fundamentally adjust that structure, I hate to say, we're probably going to get like 30 years of progress, and then we're going to be back to square one having this conversation in 20 years.
I mean, this is why I would say that it's like a two-part problem, because, you know, even if we had the most amazing, you know, educational system in the entire world, you know, all of our kids were, you know, had all the access to this information, you know, if you don't have a stable structure in your life, you know, in your home life, learning is not going to, it's just not going to happen for you. I mean, if you have to go and I've seen so many kids do this, and they leave school, they go home and they take care of their siblings, and they have to do all these chores, and then they have to, and at 16 or 15, they're getting jobs, or even before that, you know, they're mowing lawns and stuff, trying to make ends meet, help their family out. I mean, it does not matter, you know, if we fix one area and not the other. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, when you're trying to get healthy and you're losing weight, you know, if you just exercise, it's not going to work. If you just eat healthy, it's not going to work. It has to be like you know, I can't think of the word, but, you know, it has to work together. You know, it has to be a two-part solution to this, because, you know, while I agree that the educational system is entirely screwed up, entirely from like the ground up, I still want to address the other issue of it, just because, you know, if you don't feel safe, if you're not secure in your home, just learning is not going to come. It's not going to happen.
It's actually funny, because I my criticisms of the education also within my economic framework as a socialist, and particularly my framework as a libertarian socialist, because the economic the academic situation that each student sort of gets, and when you're dealing with a society in which the economy is basically hierarchically structured from between the poles and the owners, you're never going to get a system where you can have a fair and even opportunity for academic, because the ownership is always going to try to harbor the resources of the labor class for themselves, and leaving the rest to struggle between one another in order to be able to get the remainder. As long as you have that the social structure, these kinds of strifes within the economic system, the academic system, are always popping up at one point or another.
I mean, yeah, we have a system that breeds ignorance in both directions. You've got the rich elite that can just buy a degree with they have no knowledge whatsoever. So they're just as dumb as the people here that voted, you know, against their best interests. So it's like, you know, misinformation for us, no information for them. And it's just, nobody here is like, did anybody read? Did anybody look into anything? It's like, just nobody's educated around here. It's like nobody, the rich, the poor, like, where are we left at? It's like nobody, we have these brains that are supposed to set us apart from animals, right? We have this sentience that we're supposed to, you know, be better than the animals, that, you know, we're on the top of the food chain, but like, how have we earned it? Have we used our brains like at all? I mean, as a collective, it's just like, if we're going to act like animals, what's setting us apart from them? I mean, that's how we're behaving these days. Like, it's all about survival. Well, that's what animals do. I don't want to live like an animal, you know? it pisses me off that they cut us off from education. And it's not just, with the school system, but it's like, if you want to read a book, like I want to read, Chris Hedges. I can't afford to buy Chris Hedges. It's like I can't go to the library and pay off my past due fines so I read a book. It's like, poverty keeps you trapped in this damn cycle of ignorance, and it just freaking sucks that I see all these smart people out there, brilliant people out there that are just reduced to like just letting their brain atrophy. And it's just like they don't even know how to use it anymore because they haven't used it since they were like 4 years old. It's sad. It's sad that it's the war in our minds. And I get so triggered by this. I need Eric right now because I get so triggered because it's like once you screw with somebody's mind, like you got them, you can manipulate them for the rest of their life. You see this with poor people and all the time. They vote terribly. I mean, it sucks.
Here, this will calm you down, Stevie.
Yes, Madam President, she always calms me.
Hey, that's like bait. That's like bait. It's like throwing chum in the water for Eric.
Yeah.
It's
Eric enough to where he logs on.
Yeah. So
where'd you get that?
So what she's oh my god, it's so perfect. He went to a freaking HRC rally. You did.
I can't see anything.
Oh, the poor bastard.
So when you have all these variables, how many variables do we? What is he doing? What are you doing?
This one?
What you doing, Evan? In the dark. It's like somebody turn a light, man. Somebody turn a light, man. Are there bears in the?
You're way past
are there bears in the area?
Crying about.
No, that just brings me to. Steve's talking about people with they're voting against their own interests. It's. I don't know if they can't read or they can't use their senses to see what's happening around them. But it's just so amazing that, I mean, here's a good example. Emma Vigeland. Emma, she used to hang out with Jordan, blah, 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 blah. She's like fully supporting Elizabeth Warren now, which I'm like, I don't think so. Because she's kind of naive. She's, and the reason why I'm saying that is because we get a lot of information from a lot of different people. And I think the information hold on. But what I'm saying is we're only as smart as we allow ourselves to be, somewhat, but at the same time, in this environment of the United States, and I was just talking about this in my monologue, that we're embarrassing ourselves. Our scores, we're like 34th in math or something across the country. We're crap. We're not even a third world anymore. We're like a fourth and a half, it seems. And it's everywhere. Yeah. And it seems like it's not just affecting the people that are voting, it's affecting the people that are running our country. It's affecting teachers, it's affecting everybody. It's like a fucking stupid virus and it's everywhere. And it's like fucking I have to brush it off as much as I can. I have to spray myself with Lysol and drink Scope. It's fucking insane. It's just freaking everywhere. It's driving me nuts. Go ahead, Adios. Go ahead.
No, I was just about to say, like, I'm how it would be particularly surprising that Emma Vigeland might be ignorant about something, considering her boss still thinks socialism is just when the government does some stuff and then the private industry does some stuff as well.
Yeah.
My heart cringes. Like, I feel stupider just saying that. I honestly feel brain cells dying, and I had some beer this night.
I think we're in the pre-sequel to Idiocracy right now. Like, this is how it gets started. Like, this is like we're at that age right now. It's like, oh, so that's what happened before. Okay, so yeah, this is it. I mean, this is where we're at. It's like we're at that. I mean, we're probably past the tipping point. But it's like right now, it's like we can really make a change. And I see, and people. That's why I say people aren't stupid. It's like they lack information or they get misinformation. But I don't think that the vast majority of people are incapable of understanding this. It's just that due to the factors in their lives, it just, it makes it almost impossible for them to understand it, just because of, time, work, misinformation, all that other stuff. So
Yep. I would definitely agree with that perspective. I may not necessarily always, surprisingly, I may not always be as cynical, but I do agree with that sentiment.
And just as a side note, I would really like to do a live stream one night with the other parents on here, just to kind of talk about like nobody ever, and I was talking to Karen Sheets about this earlier. Nobody really ever prepares you. I mean, you've got the what to expect books, but it's like they don't tell you what to expect. They don't tell you that your kid, you got to put their onesie on backwards because they will take their diaper off and throw it against the wall. So, it's like so much stuff that they
awesome.
don't tell you about. And it's just, and right now I'm really struggling, trying to teach my kid, because I'm trying to find that balance. Like what you were saying with Alice, it's like, I want to give my child that advantage of, teaching him at home and getting him ready, for school and make sure he does well. But at the same time, it's like, I don't want to set him up to just group think. I don't want him to just be able to recite stuff. It's like, I want him to think for himself, but he thinks for himself. And I usually have to pick him up from school because he's, acting out. So it's like, how do I raise an independent, free thinking child and still get them to not get kicked out of school? So, I mean, just different parenting techniques or teaching techniques. I'd love to get together with you guys and just kind of talk about it and see what could help, because, most people are in that situation. They just, nobody knows like really how to parent. It's just, talk to other parents and see what works.
Yeah, actually, I would really enjoy that conversation. If for nothing else, because as a prospective teacher, it helps me. It actually helps me a lot in thinking about how I can best help parents with their children. What kind of solutions might be able to work best for them?
Yeah, that's a good point, Alice. And that's really just taking the initiative on that, because a lot of teachers, it's like, I understand the predicament they're in. They've got 30 plus kids and there's just so much going on. It's hard to really take that time out and connect with the parents and help them. But, if you're doing that, that's freaking amazing, man. Go for it.
One really cool trick is to take something like a small finger puppet, very, very tiny, and every day when the kids aren't looking, put it somewhere else in the class. So when they come in, they're not all rambunctious, as even high schoolers are. They're looking around the room as soon as they come in to say, where is the object? It gets them all going like this, all working together.
I will say this. If there's ever a dream place that I would love to teach, I know this isn't in America, but if I ever do get a chance one day in America, I would love to teach at a place like Summerfield in England.
Why?
Huh?
Why? That's interesting.
So, Summerfield is one of the few schools in the world that doesn't teach based on the Prussian education model. So what it does instead is that the classrooms are and the curriculum is democratically decided by the students themselves. So they get to essentially choose the curriculum they wish to focus on, and thus the curriculum each year is determined by the students' own creative impulses, and they're basically left to content with the teachers acting as facilitators for their own discussion. I kind of like that idea because it sort of changes it's a pretty radical shift in terms of the way the education system is structured. Usually it's sort of like the teachers are the boss of the classroom. It's their job to manage the curricula and guide the class the way they see fit. But in this system, it's the students that sort of dictate what they want to learn. It's sort of the difference between, I guess what I like it the most though is because it recognizes the student's own desire for creative freedom and impulse, their own innate desire to learn, and uses that as the driving force of the education rather than societally pre-selected authoritatives on various matters, basically pummeling information into the students via brute force. Sorry, I ended up ranting there for like a good 5 minutes.
That's
I can
okay.
see that.
Yvonne, did you have something to say?
Well, what's our end goal for teaching our students, our kids? Do we want them to succeed in living a like being self-sufficient, making money and having children, etc., and just keep going? Do we want them to become professionals in creating something, in solving issues in society? And if they don't make much, well, that's just how it is. I mean, it's kind of in a capitalistic system in a society. You can't really have both.
That
You,
like Summerfield isn't really sustainable because its educational philosophy runs under the core of how a capitalistic society functions. Excuse me. I know I'm drunk, but my grammar shouldn't be failing that much.
Well, I think it could work. if you set a goal for the kids and somehow you set a goal that still encompasses them, even if they're doing it on their own in their own order, still have to learn the objects that they would be judged against from kids going to other schools. So let's say you gave them an assignment that they have to make a catapult to put a ping pong ball through a hoop at a certain distance. So they're going to have to go through and make sure on their own, and you'd have to guide them. What do they have to need to learn to do to control the catapult? How energy relates to where that ball's going to be at what time. And I can see that incorporating everything in physics. And a wonderful way to teach the kids, because when you get out in industry, you're writing your own textbooks. When you encounter problems that nobody else has encountered to figure out how to make whatever it is you're trying to make, you are basically doing that. You can't go say, how do I do this? You have to know how to go out and find it on your own. Now, if you could demonstrate that you still learned the same skill set, like you had to have acquired the ability to do math, you had to acquire the ability to understand the physics, and you also learned how to teach yourself. You would be showing that you have made your students 1 to 2 to maybe 5 years ahead of the kids that had to teach by rote.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I mean, nobody ever teaches you how to learn. They don't teach you study skills in school. They don't teach you, what's the, different methods for learning the same thing. It's all about just, here's your information, deal with it. Tell it to me again in a week. It's like, they just drop this load on you that you're just supposed to recite back. It is just, and the thing is like what you were saying, Evan, I don't see why we can't do both. It's like, once you foster that love of learning, it carries over into other stuff. I mean, there's been other things that I've learned about that I've used, and it just seems like two totally different things, but I can use that information to better understand another topic, and it kind of feeds, into each other. And I just think that we should go back to like just nurturing the child to, pursue what they're good at, You know, some people are good at, you know, just like the book stuff. Some people are good at, you know, more, you know, hands-on type of things, but, you know, maybe like robots or whatever. But, you know, everybody has their place in the society, and you know, that one should be treated lesser than the other or made to feel ashamed for pursuing another, you know, type of learning than another kid, you know.
And different kids are going to need different learning strategies. I'm not saying it'd work for all of them, but for the ones it does work for, I think making it interesting. And so every step in the learning process suddenly becomes relevant to the student. You know, why am I learning this? Well, I need to know where the ball's going to be. Why am I learning this? I need to know how to make the ball move with that amount of force. You know, and then as they learn each thing, every point is relevant. And I think that is such a drastic change from the normal school.
Yeah, I think what would be great is just kind of see how like a small town works as far as how what needs are for certain people and where they could get it. Then uh, I'm trying to think of just a situation. We'll just start out one place. Like say an engineer who creates something has to be able to sell it to people who can use it, and so you have to find who can translate it in just kind of general speak into like instruction manual, how to, you know, someone gets hired to do that, and then someone they have to sell it to people. You know, you got your salesman, you got people who come and buy it and who have to use it in order for other people to do other things. For example, like technicians can use certain equipment, and then so other people can go ahead and do what they want to do. And a good example is like I can set up the everything that we need to do to have this run, but I'm not a good speaker, right? I'm not a journalist, but this gives journalists and people who can speak really well relate to other people and explain things in better ways than I can. So that's kind of like a good relationship right there. You know, if I was just doing it on my own, yeah, I might have some like flashy stuff, but it's not going to be really good thought out because most of my time is spent in the details. You know, Stevie, Snork, James, you guys are great at just kind of talking, but like you guys aren't going to spend all the time trying to figuring out how to do all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, everyone has to work together to make it run right.
But I think for like to make it relevant to say this person is graduating as this kind of engineer, there's certain milestones that an engineer has to make in the regular class. If the other class, if the teacher is guiding them to make sure that all those points are incorporated in their learning, if they're leaving one as a deficit, if the teacher pulls them aside and says, okay, at this point, we should have learned this, he's got to correct it. And I don't think little nudges are wrong. And, you know, mostly I think the important thing is that you can show that both types of learning end up with the same milestones. Now, the outcome, I think, is going to be better in the one that learns on their own. Some classes, the outcome is going to be better when it's taught in groups. Sometimes, not everybody is somebody who writes the recipes. Sometimes it's people who make the recipes. And you need both kinds of people or society's not going to work. So you can't treat the people who can't make their own class work suffer. You have to come up with a class for them too. So, yeah, I don't think we can pick just one strategy. We got to pick it by the student.
So Richard Branson is a fucking bazillionaire, right? But he has ADHD. What's that guy's name? Justin Timberlake, ADHD. Will Smith, ADHD. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have seen the segment Tom Hartman. I know a lot of people aren't big on Tom Hartman, but back in the day when he was actually a real liberal, more progressive person, he actually did a show on hunter-gatherers and farmers. And he linked that or his theory was, and many, it's out there still, is that people that have ADHD are more the hunter-gatherer type. I've got it. And then people that are not are just more the farmer type, where they can sit in a classroom. My kids, and my one son, he can sit in a classroom for an hour and a half. He doesn't have a problem with it, and just listen to a teacher wah 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 like the Peanuts freaking teacher. But my other kid, just there's no fucking way. He's, and he's got special classes and stuff like that to help him out. But they actually have classes out there for these people, for these kids that actually are, and schools, whole body schools made for these kinds of kids. So you have different types of students, different types of characters, different types of personalities, different types of handicaps, if you consider it a handicap. So when you're trying to put all this together and you throw them all in a classroom with a lady with 40 plus kids, it's a lot of these kids are going to be left behind. And that's part of this societal problem that we have now. And that's not helping anybody.
What I would love for public schools is, like, say you're in 11th grade and you've got math, a certain type of math class. You got 3 different teachers teaching that math class, but you're only assigned to one teacher. Now, what would be great is have a teacher teach that math class their own way or specific way that's different than the other teachers. And rather than a kid being assigned to just that one teacher, that kid could go to any of those 3 teachers and learn it the way that the way that that interests that student. So you're not forced to learn from a specific teacher.
That would be fucking awesome, because I've heard that from my son. Some teachers he just totally digs in math and English, the tough stuff. But then some of them he's like, I just, and then his older brother, who is 2 years older than him, has liked that teacher that my other son doesn't like. It's just compatibility, how it works for them, letting the kid, and maybe even they can both have a joint venture between the children, the teacher, and the parent, to say, it looks like you've got my son's attention better than Joe Schmo over there. You should be the guy teaching my kid.
And then sorry, go ahead, Stevie.
I mean, it's just kind of like, comparing a shark to a mountain lion. It's like both of them are fully capable of murdering you in their environment. But if you put a shark in the middle of the forest, they're going to be pretty useless. And if you take, that mountain lion, you put them in the water, they're going to be useless. So it's like, you got to put them in the environment that they're good in, like that they can thrive in, that they're comfortable with. And that's what we're seeing right now, is like we're trying to put sharks in the forest, and that's not going to work.
Yeah. What I was going to say is, like, maybe we kind of dictate how teachers are performing by how many students end up coming through their classrooms compared to the other teachers teaching the same thing, right? So rather than doing it based on scores and tests, you can go, as a principal, you can go in and say, hey, now that we have students that could go into any of these 3 teachers, and we see one teacher with 70 students, one teacher with 30, and another teacher with like 10 students. Why? I mean, there could be good reason for the people with 10 students. And
yeah, it could teacher. Be the ADHD teacher, Yeah.
Yeah, or they prefer they prefer learning slower or faster or whatever, but they get to choose.
Right.
So I mean, it's not necessarily based on how many prefer one teacher, but it could just be based on, okay, because you can actually do a lot more analysis and figure out why. It's like, okay, we've only got 10 students here, but why do they want to go with this teacher? And then maybe when they all take the test, they figure, hey, the teacher that's least popular with students, actually, those students actually have a better average in their test scores. So, I mean, but right now everything's always the same. Everything's,
it's monotone. Yeah. It's just so bleh.
Yeah,
it's Borg.
Yeah.
or you will be
Yeah.
destroyed.
I would probably would have shot myself if I was school right now. I'm serious. I've heard so many stories.
Something.
It's,
Something. No, sorry. Go ahead.
go ahead. Yeah, yes, I got my point out.
I was just gonna
School sucks.
just add in. Yeah, school sucks. Something. Crush, kill, destroy, swag.
And Ditzy Lil G in chat brought up a good point. You know, the lack of art and creative thinking in school is really detrimental. I mean, it's just art, music, you know, all these things that foster the imagination, that get you to dream bigger than what you can see, you know, in your reality right now. That's what gets kids to like actually open their minds up and to, you know, see things in a bigger picture, or to dream better for themselves just in general. I mean, I see this so much here, you know, in like, you know, Appalachia. It's like, you know, they're like, well, that's not practical, I can't use it, so let's discard it. But it's like that actually goes to get you to think bigger than what you've got right now. It, you know, if you can use imagination, is probably like one of the worst things that, you know, like the establishment hates. It's like they don't want you thinking, you know, in abstract terms and in ways that, you know, they can't control. And, you know, art is a perfect way to do that.
Can't believe you just said the word imagination. That's like right? That's like telling kids, it's even if we had it, they don't want us to have it. I've heard the conspiracies and all this. They just want us to be stupid, but the tools are out there. It's just how we get them to utilize the right tools and the right processes, the right systems. And the thing is I don't feel like I've had control over my school district forever. I don't think I've had any say so on what's going on with my kids for the beginning of their time. I mean, it's their way or the highway. So I'm going to
my
Canada.
brother's going through this right now. He's autistic. He needs a specific way. I mean, this kid, he could tell you, if you show him a picture of a flag or a map, he can tell you what country it is. He can tell you any of this. I mean, history. He's a total history buff, but he has to go to a specific school in order to, you know, the school that he's going to right now is not set up for, you know, kids with autism, but because he lives in a certain district, he has to go to that school. So, and he hates it there. The kids are mean to him. You know what? They actually make him watch CNN. They make him watch CNN at school. And then he has to do a little questionnaire after they're done to make sure that he can recite back all that bullshit propaganda. Buddy, he told me that. I got all kinds of livid.
Oh,
I said,
God.
CNN.
Oh, wow.
Close enough. He hates Hillary. He says she's stupid. And I'm like, do you know what CNN stands for? And he's like, what's that? And I said, Clinton News Network. Don't trust that shit. Pass your classes, do what you got to do, but don't believe in it. Okay? Yeah. Do your own research.
Just go through the motions.
Just sprinkle some facts and get out of there.
Yeah. Get the fuck out, man. All right, Stark. You know what's funny is my desktop looks nothing like his desktop. You don't even want to see my desktop. It's disgusting.
What I do? Show the wrong one?
Photos of your...
Yeah, you just showed the desktop, Snork. Nothing on it.
No problem.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that needs to be done out there. Okay, what do you got there, buddy? Tim Kaine of Virginia.
Yeah, I think that if Hillary doesn't run, that's who they're going to push.
What about Kamala? Wasn't Kamala set up to be the?
Well, she was.
See what they did is they dangled. Go ahead. Rebel, you have an answer.
Doesn't it seem on and off with her?
I think they've realized that usually the first ones they dangle are the first ones to get pruned.
There you go. I was going to say in that order. Because they dangle them out there, see what kind of reaction they get. It's like test marketing. It reminds me of test marketing. And
slowly guide us into, well, we're going to take 10K then.
Yeah.
But she's the most popular person.
She still has a chance because I still have not seen evidence that they've discontinued paying for her consultants.
Yeah.
Don't make me gag.
Yes.
They put too much money on her and they lost.
But Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, guys. I mean, after they threw away all those Bernie votes, you know. I mean, but she won the popular vote. Once
No, they did not do that.
yeah. Oh no, it was Russia. Russia did it.
Russia
I still think Russia
hacked
did
our
help.
democracy.
I still believe Russia did help. I don't believe that 31 Republicans got knocked off to put Trump in the primary for Republican. I think Hillary paid Russia to make sure that she had someone that she.
Oh no, the Russia thing is the Russia hacking is what we're laughing about.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Snork, is Snork saying that Hillary was in cahoots with Russia to
Yeah.
push Trump?
Mm-hmm.
Because the Podesta email clearly shows that she told the networks to use the Pied Piper, and the new Pied Piper that they chose was between Ben Carson, Ted Cruz, and Donald Trump, and they chose Trump.
It would just be ironically just too funny because
if it came back around, right?
Yeah,
if that's what fucking really happened.
Yeah. What did the Pied Piper do?
Oh, well,
did everything to pretty much lose it.
Yeah, he fooled everybody into going into a mountain and going away.
Ooh.
But come on, I mean, it's not like Hillary has any ties to Russia, right?
Yeah.
No, of course not. that uranium only went
I can't even say that with a straight face.
I was looking at you because it was so straight, and I was going, "What the fuck? You did a good job."
Look, she still doesn't have a straight face.
Not now.
Not now.
Mm.
Yeah. So if it all comes around, Jesus Christ. So talk about our political educational system. God. I mean, we could go on for days how stupid these fucking people are out there. Oh my gosh. And yes, I am talking about people that watch MSNBC, CNN, and Fox.
It's just not necessarily stupid. I think it's just they just have different priorities. They want to watch sports or something.
That was harsh.
And
that was harsh.
It's just because I asked them, so what do you like about Hillary Clinton? And then they'll just sprout, of course, the usual things. Now, and then what do you think about the things that people say about Hillary Clinton? And they go, oh, the alt-right or the Trump supporters says, and then they go, what about the people who aren't Trump supporters or alt-right? What are they saying about Hillary? And then they go, what do you mean? It's like they just believe the alt-right and the Trump supporters. They go, no, they don't. And they can't think of a reason why people don't like her aside from that whatever that's being pitched, that hey, just because it's identity politics. They don't understand anything other than that. It's just
yeah.
They don't spend the time to research. They don't want to go in to a search engine, read all the different things and from different sources. They prefer to read their own. And then, I mean, because if you think about when we research something, we look at MSNBC and go, do we believe them? No. Do we watch Fox? Do we believe them? Not really. Then we go to other maybe independent media sources. We pretty much look all the way around. It's like we're shopping for a specific something, and we're going to actually research all the items that we think fit our needs. So, we're the good shoppers, I guess you could say. Otherwise, these people that we're up against are like, they're just going to go and buy a pair of Levi's because that's what brand and it's the most expensive one, right? It doesn't matter how horrible that product is, they'll buy it because of the name recognition.
There's a term in the car industry for salespeople when they get a customer that walks on the lot, that when you guide them to the first car, they take it out for test drive, you do what's called the walk around, you show them how things run, what happens, and then you ask the question, if I could, would you? And if I could, would you? You guys, telling you right now, you didn't buy a car, somebody sold it to you. If I can get you the payments, if I can get you the price, if I can get you the rate, if I can get you the amount of money you want for your trade, would you drive away in this car right now? Boom. Let's go. Yes, yeah, sure. Let's go get some numbers together. So the thing is they'll come back with the first, it's called the first pencil. When you get the first pencil from the tower or the managers or wherever the general sales manager is or the GM or whatever, however they work in the office where they get the numbers and shit. And they come back and the salesperson goes, this is what they got. And you take the deal right there. You know what that's called? It's called the first pencil lay down. That means you laid down and you took it. You didn't haggle. You didn't rebut. You didn't do anything. You just took the first fucking deal. So you're buying the Toyota Tercel at $800 a month for $50,000. You see what I'm saying? And your interest rate is 22%. And these are called laydown. So what's happening out there? It's almost the same thing. You have people that are taking whatever they're giving to them, and they choose to not do the research. When you get somebody that comes in, and I'm telling you right now, Asians are great at this. They're Asians and people from the Middle East are wonderful. I used to love working with these people because I used to love them getting a good deal because they would come in, they wouldn't take the fucking first pencil deal, they wouldn't take the sixth, and then they'd walk out, but they're golden now. Golden means they're financeable. It means they have good scores, good income, debt to income, everything's good. So you don't want them, and they know you're going to chase after them. You know, these are good shoppers. These are people that have the ability and they know how to shop. And we're just good shoppers. You know, we're people.
Yeah.
We have the credit, we have the ability, we have the brains, we know the sources, we know where to go, and not everybody has that. So that's part of what we do here is we kind of tell people, check your, like Evan said from the get go, resources, referencing, links, match everything. Get on the phone with the horse's mouth if you can, like I have. You know, that's good stuff. But we just have stupid.
Yeah, I mean
people.
that kind of goes back to like what is it that the rich, the elite establishment knows that we don't know about? Like, what is it that the average understand that they do, which is stocks, business, trading, stuff that's like they don't teach any of that stuff in school.
They should.
They don't even touch it, but they know that stuff like the back of their Bible, and that's, I feel like that's the kind of stuff that we need to learn about if we want to be on their level and take them down, because we need to learn how their money works. We need to learn how all this, how their system is set up, because that's how their system is set up. It's all about the stocks, the bonds, and the money, and if we don't understand that, then we don't understand how they work, how their mindset is. It's like, that's their driving force. That's their God, capitalism, money, that's their drug. It's everything to them. That's what their whole life is about, even before their own kids. I mean, you can see it right now. They're sacrificing their own kids, their future, so they can make an extra buck right now. So it's like, that's the kind of stuff I really want to learn about in order to take these assholes down.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, even the assholes are selling their own kids out. I mean, it's like, I don't get it. Sorry, I was.
That's good.
Struck a chord.
And like, because our company always hires just new people just with no experience because they just want me to train them, and then they go off like a year or two later making like 80 grand a year. It's like they don't understand the the interview process and the haggling. Everything's just like when you're buying a used car or new car, you need a haggle. It's the same thing with a job. When you're offered a job and they want you, don't take the first offer, whatever that they're paying you. Sometimes they'll even take the second offer. Sometimes they just kind of want to understand, just are you just going to lay down and just take whatever's given? Then they may not even hire you, even though most companies these days just really want to hire the cheapest person. But that necessarily doesn't mean that they're going to stick around or they're going to be worth anything, because you get what you pay for. And Yeah.
I call
And
it a rant.
yeah, and it's I think where was I going to shepherd this into? I think with politics is they make it so bad that they give you the first solution, the first offer, and they expect you to take it because they don't want you to haggle for anything better. So you've got the golden, healthcare, like universal healthcare. They go, you know what? You don't need universal healthcare. We're going to give you Obamacare. You know, so what's another thing that's big? That's so
There's just options. There's no
so.
options. They don't give us any options. That's
Well,
what
they give you the worst option
they give you the
first
worst
and
option
hope
first.
that you take. And then he goes,
Yeah.
"What are you talking
This is a
about? You
great
guys
car.
took this
It's got
option."
no tires, but I tell you what, it hums.
I'll take it, James.
That's
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and get a wash
So
for you.
that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where we're at with people, with politicians.
Yeah.
Is they're giving you the worst thing to make you want it, and then when you take it and you realize that you've just been wamboozled, you're gonna be like, dude, you guys picked it, and then the people who are saying no, we don't like it, it's a bad idea, and everyone else is voting yes, let's have it because we're not gonna get anything better. It's like we're just us here, we're just sitting on the sidelines going, oh my god. It's like, guys, wake up. We don't have to take this offer. They're giving. Yeah.
We're kind of at that point where half measures just aren't going to cut it. I mean, if you walk into a dealership and you got 10 grand and they say, well, I got a car that's 20 grand, it's like, that's just not going to cut it. Like, this is all I got. So it's like, we're at that point right now. It's like, we need education, we need healthcare, we need jobs, we need a safe, secure future. And they're like, well, we'll kind of give you a little bit of that, maybe. And it's just like, that's not going to work. It's still not solving my problem. Like, you're not giving me solutions right now. You're giving me half measures.
Mm-hmm.
But so many people are willing to settle for the half measure because it's a little bit better than the crap that they're in right now. And then once the half measure goes through, then they go back and they undo it. I've seen this time and time again with West Virginia, with the mine safety laws, and I've seen it in just a broader sense, nationally. Like look back and during the civil rights movement, they took back the what is it, the voting for the states. Man, I cannot come up with words tonight. But to where it's like, they make sure that these states, like in the South and stuff, have fair elections and voting, what's the word? I wish I can remember it. But they completely got rid of that. They got rid of it. So now, like, states can just do whatever they want. So it's like we take one step forward, 2 steps back, and it's all planned that way.
My tolerance is busted. It's broke. I just no more. It's like,
thank God, and more people should be like that, Amanda, because I mean, seriously, we need to have a lower tolerance for bullshit these days, because our tolerance is way too damn high. I
don't think us in general are. Yeah, look at her. She wants to beat somebody up right now.
My daughter, because I let her kind of play games, and stuff like that, watch TV. The TV's good stuff. She's really into marine biology and stuff like that because I let her watch at nature channels, and I think that's good for her, even though my wife doesn't like her just learning from the screen. But then, so she'll tell my daughter, okay, that's it, no more. And I tell my daughter, I go, no, say, I want 2 more. You gotta have them. And so my daughter, my wife says, no more. And I go, okay, just say 1 and that's my final offer. So my daughter will say, 1 more and that's my final offer. And it usually makes it so she does get an extra one. So rather than actually like
that's so smart.
Like a 4-year-old crying and whining, she knows that she can haggle for maybe 1 more, and she got that 1 more, right? But then if she couldn't get anything, no matter what, just kind of like how politicians are, what does she do? She starts crying, whining, misbehaving, etc. So it's good for everyone all around haggle, get what you want, negotiate, whatever. But all the negotiations between the Republicans and Democrats, the rich and the rich, it's not any of us. So.
The art
That's
of
a great point, because
negotiation.
what are we watching Democrats do right now? They're whining and crying and saying, but Russia did it. It wasn't my fault. It was Russia. They're just whining and crying. They don't have anything else left, man. That's all they got to do. Just throw your temper tantrum. It ain't going to work on us. Go for it. Go ahead and cry. Go ahead and cry. It's not going to work.
Not on us. They're showing that one vehicle out there, like it's just one car. It's just a few cars. There's so many different options when you go into a dealership. There's so many different options for kids. Evan's got his new how to negotiate for a 4-year-old. That's good. But you're right. From 4 to 6 classes from Evan. That would have been really bad with me. I'm such a pushover dad already. Do you want the what? Okay, sure. Whatever you like, whatever you want. Yeah, but there's no options out there for us. And I mean, let's just we're jumping here a little bit, but we're not too far away on candidates. We've only got 2 parties to choose from. And that's even worse.
And not just multiple people from the same party, just one person from that same party.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, we're gonna use this one here. I guess it appears you guys kind of like that person a little bit. So even though we know this is the person you really want, and what will do everything for you, and absolutely is looking out for all of your interests, we're going to use this person because they like our interests, which are the 1% corporations.
And imagine an automotive dealership, like we were doing analogies for it before. So suppose all you can pick from is the Ford dealership and the Toyota dealership. Ford dealership, all they got are Ford Tauruses, and the Toyota dealership, all they got are Priuses, right?
Yeah.
You can't choose any other type of model for that type of from that company.
That's it. It's like
it doesn't make any sense.
Kias don't make trucks, right? It's the same.
I think they might do, but I mean, you've got so many different types of car companies, manufacturing companies,
options.
And all these options. But when it boils down to picking one, imagine all these car dealerships did the same thing that the political parties do. It's just.
And what would be the biggest threat to those car industries is if you had the knowledge and the capability to make your own damn car. It's like if I don't have to go through these dealerships, I don't have to go through the middleman. And that's what you see that in a lot of states too. It's like they have, you can't buy direct from dealer. You have direct from the source. You have to go through a third party dealer. And it's just like, why would they even set that up? It's like because they want you trapped in that situation where you're, do I buy the Pinto from this dealership or do I buy the Pinto from the other dealership? It's like either way, you're still getting a Pinto. And it's like, that's kind of dangerous and not advisable. But we still do it because it's like, hey, they're only selling Pintos, Guess we got to do it because we can't make our own cars to put out there.
Okay, so Snore creates something that makes us levitate and fly. That would really fuck up the car industry. That would completely mess up. And there are a lot of interesting innovations out there that, not to jump off the political and teaching stuff, but if there's technology out there that should be changing how our politicians think and how they process what they're doing and what their tasks are. But they don't. It still seems medieval the way they think.
But it's also, they can now do it with the current climate is saying that, well, it gives terrorists another weapon, right? Terrorists can weaponize it, and we won't be safe. So whatever technologies out there that they don't have their hands on, they could just say no, because if terrorists get their hands on it, they can kill a lot of people. But you know what they do? They take it over. They build their own. They go, this one is safe. Terrorists can't do it on this one, even though people who test it are saying no, they could still do it. They just kind of push it over. They just do what media does. They just silence them and saying, they're just wrong. They don't know the details. They don't know what they're talking about. We got our experts saying that it's safe. Just like the Keystone pipeline, Keystone XL pipeline.
The one
No,
that's
it's
leaking?
safe. Yeah, our experts, they analyze it. They say it's fine. It's safe. You got other people that are independent or other companies saying no, it's not safe. People who have the data that they'll say no, it's not safe. But that's another thing is we don't control the media. The media controls us.
Pretty much. That's pretty much the bottom line here. What I said in my monologue is they're just fucking dangerous. The shit they're spewing. Towards the end, I just said in my monologue was they're embarrassing us. They're putting out the propaganda and the narratives and the talking points and this Russia thing to where it's just becoming so extremely dangerous. And they're making us appear as though we're just the biggest fucking idiots when the rest of the world pretty much knows that Russia, and the Russia Gate has just been bullshit since day one in regards to the connection with Trump. And it's really sad is that the majority of people in the United States, well, I think it's getting less and less, still believe the bullshit. But the sad part about it is the media continues to push this fucking narrative, and they're the people that are in 20 million houses. It's just that's the biggest fucking problem we got right now. They need to go away.
Oh, I missed last night's show because I was on a plane, Stevie. What was your take on Jenks Uger and Dave Grohl? No, what's his name?
Dave Kohler. Yeah. Well, basically, the only question I have with Jink is why did they go 20 years back to, dig up some stupid stuff that he says when he says it on the daily? Like he's always saying some sexist, racist, just dumbass stuff. So why is it that they went 20 years back? But as far as Dave Kohler, I called him out on some stuff that he said about West Virginia. And basically, the day that our chemical leak happened here, where 300,000 people went without water, he said, well, don't vote for Republican governors and congressmen, even though we've never had a Republican governor up until just recently. And we didn't vote for a Republican governor. We voted for a Democratic governor that then switched to the Republican Party. So it's like, at least do a little bit of research before you start talking your shit about other people. But I just wanted to call out the hypocrisy because, when Flint happened, it's all about let's help Flint. Oh, look at what they're doing to them. It's so terrible. It is terrible, but they're doing that to all of us. And when you create that false dichotomy, okay, well, these people over here, they are, they're helpless victims, and these people over here deserve everything that they get. Well, we still voted for dumbass people. Both of us did. And we voted for them for the same damn reasons. I mean, if you look at Detroit and compare it to West Virginia, we have way more similarities than we do have differences. I mean, jobs, poverty, drugs, all this different stuff that happens. And it's like, in him, it's like, well, since you're poor whites, it's like, well, you're obviously, you're just stupid. But, and I just wanted to call attention to his myopic way of thinking, because he's just he just recites whatever it is that the Democrats tell him to recite. Okay, well, West Virginia's bad and Flint is okay. These people are okay. We can advocate for them, but fuck those people, let them die, whatever. Whatever. Doesn't matter. They're a flyover state, right? So we don't have to worry about them. And it just shows how stupid and just small his thinking is. I'm so glad he stepped down. I'm so glad Cenk Uygur stepped down. I don't think they stepped down for the right reasons, but I'm just glad that they did, because I think that they were doing more harm than good to this whole program. I mean, you look at Paula Jean, there's some good. Amy Vilela, I think she's another Justice Democrat. She's another good one. I mean, there's a lot of good people that are using this because that's the only means they have for attaining an office to make the change in their local, their district. And so it's like, there's the corporation, or not corporation, but there's the establishment or whatever that is Justice Democrats, the elite that run it. And then there's the people that are the actual candidates. Some of the candidates, like Ro Khanna, I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. But there's a lot of people out there, especially in poor districts that, they're doing it for the right reasons. And I'd hate to see for those people to get hurt because the people that are running the organization are stupid. So yes, I'm glad that they stepped down. I'd like to know who's going to be taking their place, though, because I think that's the real thing. If you want to see who's doing these hit pieces, I think you need to look at who's going to take their place, because that's the whole goal, is to get those people to step down so you can put the other people that you want into that, into that position, so you can run it the way that you want it. I mean, that's what Hillary Clinton, that's what all these establishment people do. I mean, Roy Moore, I mean, it was true, I guess, based on the evidence. It's like, Roy Moore is a horrible person, but they use that in order to get Doug Jones in, which is just this milk toast, supposed center, actual Republican, type guy that they're going to get in to just screw things up some more, or at the very least, keep it as screwed up as it is right now. So I really want to know who they're replacing them with. Have y'all heard anything on that?
No. No, I don't. I haven't. But also, again, to the point is, they give you the next worst option. So, instead of getting good and great, they give you just not as bad as the other person.
Is Sank gone? Is Sank totally gone yet, or he's still hanging around?
Who?
Jenks.
He's still in TYT, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Just step down from just Democrats. He's probably just. I think it's fine, really.
I mean,
because he can pretty much, he just said, and if anyone calls, all right, you just don't like the First Amendment. It's just an image for Justice Democrats that they're worried about, not necessarily image for the company he runs.
Yeah, but TYT, what do you think they're going to do? Or you guys think they're going to? I mean, are they bringing up more information? Somebody was saying that they have some more information on Jank. But would that affect him at TYT?
No, people who tune in, they either still like them and understand them.
Well, I mean, stuff from the 80s, everybody, I don't think anybody understood the word harassment in the 80s.
I mean,
in my opinion, I don't think anybody learned anything like that.
I mean, when you see, let's see, I think there's backlash from a PR standpoint, but like a backlash from a follower or a fan standpoint. Mm-hmm. I think they typically have a level of I don't care. Just like Kevin Spacey is like, I don't care. He's a good actor. I like his movies, his shows. I'll keep watching it. Yeah. And there's others that'll say, I'll never watch another Kevin Spacey movie. Same thing with that comedian who just got a lot of flack.
Yeah,
Louis C.K. Yeah. There's a lot of people defending him, and when you're a fan, when you're a follower, it doesn't matter what you do, who you support, what they've done. They're still on the bandwagon, right? Yeah. So I think nothing's really going to happen to him TYT wise. There's not going to be any backlash. People who follow him support him for what he's done, done recently, not what he's done 20 years ago.
But is there a timeline? I mean, I was a serious misogynist when I was 11 and a half. And I think it's going to come back and bite me in the ass at some point. I'm gonna have some girl go, you, and then it's gonna get on, some fucking publication or some fucking media outlet. Next, yeah, this guy, he took my lunch and then he said something, whatever. I don't know what the fuck. But I mean, how far back do we need to go?
Well, just take the Jesus stance. If no one's said a misogynist comment, throw the first stone. And we'll see who throws that stone. I'm sure you could dig back that person's history. They'll have done the same thing. So,
but it's
see, that's why I don't throw stones at. I try not to throw stones at people like on our level. I try to tend to throw those at the elite, the establishment, because it's like I don't want to get up on a moral high horse. That's what Jink did. None of us can really get up on a moral high horse because we've all made mistakes. We've all fell short in some way or another, and it's like, I don't want to judge other people for what they've done. Because it's all a learning process, and some people take a little bit longer than others. Hell, I mean, I'm 30 years old and I still don't have my shit together. So it's like, I can't really judge anybody else for that. I mean, I've made my own fair share of remarks. So it's like, I don't want to judge anybody on that, but it's like, that's what that's what TYT did. Like, that's what they made their career on. It's like, they get up there and they just condescend and they tell you how to think and who to judge and how you can feel morally superior to these lesser, human beings. And it's just, and I think that's why this backlash is so huge against him, is because, for so long he's been criticizing us about the way we think and the way we act and the way we vote. And now it's like, now people are calling him out for what a piece of shit he is. And it's just like, I mean, I can't blame him. I can't blame him. I mean, I kind of enjoy it just to see him fall off that high horse.
yeah. I was also going to say, oh, man.
That's a high horse for that guy, though, man. That's not just a pony ride. This guy was pretty high up there. I mean, with the Justice Democrats, but I do believe that in some way this kind of affects his TYT a little bit. I think some way. I mean, like I said, once you get that image and you're branded, it doesn't go away. It sticks on you. It's like tar. If you ever had tar get on you, like if you've done roofing before, it's like this. It's hard as shit to wash off. He's got to bathe in gasoline to get this stuff off of him. Pretty crazy. The biggest thing for all these guys that are out there on their high horses on CNN and MSNBC and fucking Fox, and they all know and they're all ethically correct and nobody's ever made mistakes on the show and that's all this other stuff is, yeah, we know you're not perfect. You're fucking damn right you're not perfect because none of us are, but at the same time, if you're going to be reporting about people and their imperfections, you need to look in the mirror first before you start throwing shit out there. And maybe just Jank, he fucking forgot or he didn't think it was a big deal because sometimes these guys with these egos and these, hierarchical, narcissistic, in a sense, mindsets, they're untouchable in their own minds. So I think, at some point, shit's going to come around and bite you in the butt. And it usually does when you put yourself too high up on that totem pole.
Okay, I remember what I was trying to say.
Okay.
Because there are some people who've done crimes, and that's the reason why people in prison, and when they come out, they should have normal lives again. We shouldn't punish them again in society after they serve their time. And there's some people who make a mistake in their past. They understand it. And they spend the rest of their lives trying to do as much to do good things. And then I think if you can kind of differentiate yourself from to be that type of person, if you are doing a lot of good and you've done bad stuff in the past, that's a good thing. It just shows growth. You know, I guess you could call it spin, but if it's true, it's true. Like, say you killed someone in a car accident because you were drunk driving when you were 17, and then that history gets back to you because you're running as a politician in the future. But since that time, and since that person where you are now, where you're running for something, what have you done since that time to, has it been to promote, no drunk driving, to make sure that people are aware that what happens to people who not just the people that they affect by driving drunk and killing someone, but how that affects your life. So maybe a lot of bringing awareness to it, just helping people in need, whatever, you know that's a big difference between someone who did something bad in the past and continues to do bad stuff but just hides it.
Right.
So I think when you for a lot of people who might have done bad stuff, like Jinx, I guess, if he was doing great stuff now, it probably wouldn't be a problem for a lot of people, because they understand all the good stuff that they've been doing ever since then, because that's their motivation. I'm trying to think of a comic book character that did that, where they did
No,
something
it
wrong.
was Iron Man. Iron Man was an arms dealer,
Okay.
right? So
Maybe.
Iron Man was
Yeah.
arms dealer for Stark Industries, and then all of a sudden, somebody he was imprisoned in a cave kind of showed him the light, in a dark cave. So, and there's like Mothers Against Drunk Driving, okay? And I've had a DUI. So what happens is you got to go through these classes and all this other stuff. But there's people that do that join Mothers Against Drunk Driving. They get involved, and people that have had serious offenses against themselves, that they go around and they start they understand what they really did wrong. They understand how detrimental it would have been to somebody, how hard it would have been on that family, and they see it, they get it, and then they want to do something in the philanthropic type of way, throughout their lives. But so I don't really know if Jank. I mean, I know he's with Planned Parenthood. I know he's with women on a lot of stances. I don't know if, I mean, has he ever been a guy promoting, women's rights and equality? I think so. He's done that, right? So, I'm not saying the guy's totally evil and bad, but like I said, it's a stink. Once you get that stink on you, doesn't matter. Sometimes this is it kind of doesn't matter in some cases what you've done before, because it's a
I mean,
bad
but
stink.
that's kind of thing is like on paper he's on, like, if we looked at what he wants and what we want, I'd say most of the time we would be perfectly aligned.
Yeah.
Right. But the thing is the way that he goes about achieving that is by creating these rifts between people. Like he wants to focus on police brutality when it comes to like Black people, but it's like nobody ever wants to talk about like how it affects everybody. He wants to talk about, oh, poor Flint, but then you've got Dave Kohler that says fuck West Virginia. It's like they have totally different mindsets, and they're just regurgitating what they're being told by these Democratic establishment people. And what it's doing is it's creating a gigantic rift between all these different groups of people, whether it's the young and the old, Black, white, I mean, you name it. There's all these rifts, and that's the thing. It's like, and Tim Black does it too. He preys on these stories that create rifts between certain groups of people. And that's why, like, I focus on the stuff of like what brings us together. Let's talk about what's screwed up and how it affects all of us, because you can't hurt one group of people in our society and not hurt another group of people. I mean, you see this with feminism, right? You have this thing that's set up where women are you know, like back in the day, like women are supposed to be at home and men are supposed to do these other certain things. You know, they're supposed to be tough and badass. Well, you know what? Not all men are tough and badass. You know, some men, you know, are, you know, pretty in touch with their feelings and stuff. It's like, but in that kind of society, those men aren't valued, and you know, and they have to hide it, and then they feel shame for that kind of thing. So it's like, you know, even when you're hurting one group of people, it still comes back to hurt you in the long run. Even with our establishment with the rich, you know, you're hurting poor people, you're taking all this money from them, but in the long run you're going to hurt yourself, because you know, at the end of the day, people just aren't going to be able to afford your product. So it's like you can't hurt one group of people without hurting all of us. So I mean, I don't know, I guess that's my point.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
And when you run your platform on creating division and everything, your karma is going to come back. Even if his platform is great and the way he delivers it, that's negative energy, that's negative karma, and it's going to come back on him.
He has to follow a narrative. Okay, so this is what happens, I think, is whatever he's being told to say or hint or gesture or get close to or maneuver towards, etc., 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 I don't think he checks himself before he wrecks himself. In other words, I mean, he probably wants to say what he wants to say. I say what I'm going to say because I know my past, because I know what I've done, because I know what I haven't done and what I've done. So I am able to navigate through what I need to do to make sure that the internet connection is unstable. My internet is, but do you understand what I'm saying? But once you're being told to say certain things, if you go by their book, that book can come back, or those narratives can come back and slap you in the butt, you know, or in the face.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what I think's happened to this guy. I think he wanted to go in another direction, and they told him to go in that direction. And he said, "Okay, whatever you guys want me to do, I'm getting $20 million and I'm making money and blah blah blah." And so he went in that direction, and now it's kind of bit him in the ass. What is going on here? Hold on, dang it. My connection went down. Sorry. Dang it. Damn it. My connection. All right, am I back up? I think I'm back up. Sorry about that. Yeah, but you know what? I didn't get my Ethernet connection yet, and I don't even know if that's the deal. I think we've had, ever since we switched to Spectrum, part of Time Warner, or whatever the fuck it is, it's been terrible. Terrible. So fuck you, Spectrum. The monopolization of there it is, your first signs of net neutrality. Fucking us up. Yeah, so yeah, my point was basically this, that you know what? Damn, just got booted from Zoom. Yeah, I know, I did. I'm sorry. It's weird. My internet connection is unstable, and then boop. You know what? I'll be off in about 15 minutes. Maybe I should just call it a night. Been leaning on this. Unless, yeah. No, this wasn't intentional. It's just my connection sucks, guys. I'm sorry. All right. So you know what? I'm just gonna go. And then I have to put up a new thing. I'm sorry. Just forget it. I'm done. Okay. I have to do some other things too. So I'm super sorry. Tonight's short. I think we're kind of just, just kind of looking for stuff to go over anyway. And I think we pretty much hit everything we needed to hit. So I am super, super sorry, but the connection sucked. So I'm done. Maybe that was a sign. Okay, you guys were just beating a dead horse. Get off the fucking screen. Right? That could have been it. I'm just gonna go. But sorry. Thank you all for coming. And I'll be on tomorrow. And you know what? I'm going to go pick up an Ethernet connection. Down detector. What is that? Oh, let me check that, Snark. It says page not found. Are you sure that's the right link, brother? Can you email me it? Hold on. Yeah, see y'all later. Bye, Ditzy. Bye, M99. Bye, Zox. Bye, Angel Tips. Bye, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah, just forget it. I don't want it's gonna happen again. Then I'm really gonna be pissed off. I need to drink some water. I feel like this cold just will not go away. Anyway, I'm eating a tater tot. Evil. But I had a whole bowl. I had a whole giant bowl of broccoli and cauliflower. Steamed it. Threw some real butter on it. Sprinkled it with garlic and other spices. Ate the whole thing. And then I had some hot dogs and tater tot. But I did eat my broccoli. I know, it's stupid. Oh, hey, Matt. Sorry about that. Bye, Karen. I'll be on tomorrow, guys. Aloha. Aloha. Yeah, so I'll just kind of finish like this. Media, you suck. You fucking suck. The media sucks testicles. And they're playing and they're screwing up so much stuff. They don't even see the damage they're doing. They don't even comprehend the damage that they're doing. They start wars. They kill people. They don't get it. Wolf Blitzer and Tom Brokaw and all these fucking guys, and they just get all excited when they see bombs going off and people exploding. Ratings, more money, ratings. It's sad. And other countries are sick of it. Sick and fucking tired of it. I am. We all are. Time to do something. You gotta take down the fucking two-party oligarchies. Sword. And their sword is the media. Right? And it needs to go. I need to stop eating. Anyway, it worked out tonight. That was good too. Just a little bit, not as much as I should. I don't want to have a fucking full-on cold relapse. But aloha, guys. Thank you very much for coming. This is Monotalk. I do appreciate you guys coming on. It was some good discussions tonight. Thank you, Red. Thank you, Snork. Thank you, Eben. Thank you, Rebel. Thank you, Garden Gnome. Whoever else is there. Alios. Good stuff tonight. Put a shirt on, buddy. Aloha. Aloha.